Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. If you like drama, if you like tea, heck, if you just like to hear someone else's story, this is the channel for you. Hit that subscribe button, join the family, hype me up, like, comment, and share. If you are returning, you already know how we like to do it. Let's get straight into today's reaction video.
As some of y'all may know, I was a hoe. And being in that type of field of work came with a lot of weird, dangerous stuff. So I figured that I would share some of my stories since I'm out the game, you know, like I'm retired. So why not share certain things that I've been through? But a little disclaimer before y'all get in my comments, I am not upset about the consequences that happened to me. I'm just sharing my story. So don't get in the comments talking about, oh, well, that's what you get. Like, I don't care. So, so let me tell you how I met this client. So I was actually on my way to an alcohol, and my client was like driving down the street that I was going to, and you know, he saw a bad bitch and was like, what's up? And we got to talking. In the midst of me talking to him, my client hits me up like, oh, we gotta reschedule another time. And I just simply was like, nah, you played, like I'm good. Like, blocked him, didn't talk to him no more. So when the person in the car asked me did I have anything to do, I was like, no. And I'm like, shit, so since I just canceled on this client, why won't I just get another one? So since I didn't have nothing to do, he did invite me into his vehicle and we got in the car. That's when, you know, we started talking, and I basically just put on the table what I wanted and how this gonna go, and he was with it. Like, he was with it. Obviously, this is not something new to him, and come to find out, he actually been stalking me. So as I got to know this client, you know, I thought he was pretty cool. He ended up becoming a regular. This was no GFE, no none of that. He was just like a cool dude. But in the midst of him picking me up one day, he basically asks me a few questions. Now I know y'all probably gonna be like, oh, why are you having questions with a trick? Bitch, this is y'all problem. Y'all are mean to niggas and y'all rob niggas, and then y'all is back on the blade looking for a new nigga because y'all was rude to the last one, finesse the last one. Now you don't have a regular. Bitch, all my clients was regulars after the first time. So back to the stalking, he pretty much told me about different occurrences on when he spoke to me and saw me some places, and I'm like, this does seem too familiar. So you're telling me you ran into me all these many times, but I don't know you, but you know me. Are you stalking me? So anyway, this has been my client for about a month or two now, and I guess I would say I got comfortable when I shouldn't have. You know, we were smoking together or whatever, and he actually laced me with PCP. Me personally, I didn't have a bad reaction to it. I guess it's like a research that says men have a worse reaction than women, so it didn't really affect me like it affected him. I was just high as shit. Pretty much though, he took me to a storage unit, and there was nothing in the storage unit but a folding cookout chair. Like, y'all know those lawn chairs? Yes, that was in the storage unit. Nothing else but that. He's high as fuck off that shit, and he's drinking, you feel me, some Hennessy, and I'm just like, what the fuck? So when he took me to the storage unit, he basically like pulled my arm and like sat me in there, and I'm like, oh well, I'm about to die. But you see, I didn't like fight or nothing because I really thought like I was just gonna die. Like, I felt like that was just my time. So like I didn't even, like, you know, that type of shit comes with this. So I thought like that was just my time to die. Like, I didn't like fight him or nothing. Like, oh, what are you doing? I was just like, I went with it. But this nigga was so high that he didn't even lock me in the storage unit. This nigga was like on his car, like near the car door, like a zombie, leaned over on it. And when I walked up to his car, there was literally rope in his car and a book bag. Rope and a book bag. I don't know what was in the book bag, but I feel like if I didn't get out of there, and whenever he sobered up, like, he would have did something probably. Like, I escaped death pretty much by the grace of God, of course. But after that, everything like became a blur. I woke up in his car. I don't remember like falling asleep or nothing. Like, all I remember is going outside, seeing him on his corridor, and then the next morning at 4 a.m. when I checked my phone, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I don't know what happened, but things do get worse. So y'all should follow me to hear how crazier the stories is gonna get. Like I had to jump out of a car one time. Like I had niggas point guns at me. Listen, y'all should follow me and really get the tea. Thank ya. My dad's best friend was my client. Now, disclaimer, this is someone who I believe was my dad my whole entire life. I just recently found out he wasn't my dad. My mom told me he was my father, and I was like raised with his family, but come to find out he is not my dad, but still I look at him as my father. So anyways, I had a busy day ahead of myself, and as I was waiting on my Uber to come pick me up, there's this man who is driving like a company truck, and he asked for my number or whatever. I gave it to him, me being me. And we're chit-chatting. Like I said, I get straight to the point. I don't want nothing but manyan. So we schedule a time to see each other. If I'm not mistaken, I think I seen him later on that evening or the next day that evening, but it was one of those two. So a little bit about him. He's a football coach. He has his own team, and he owns properties and all this other stuff. He invites me over, he starts cooking on the grill, Mind you, this is an actual date. This is not no QB, no none of that. This is a date. He's paying me for my time, okay? Hourly. So while he's grilling, he gets a phone call, jail call to be exact, and he's just telling his man how he would, a young pretty female right now, and his man's wanted to talk to me. He passed the phone to me, and as soon as I heard yo or hello, I'm like, hold on, that voice is too familiar. So I didn't say anything. I didn't say nothing. So since I didn't say anything, he grabbed the phone back and they started chit-chatting, and he's like, oh yeah, bro, she don't want to talk to no jailbird, making fun of him or something like that. So after that, I just put on the floor, because if you know this man, he has a daughter, so you should know who I am. So I'm like, that's my dad. That is my father. He's like, what? Oh, you better not say nothing. You better not fucking say nothing. Da 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 da. He goes in the crib. He's screaming at himself or whatever. And he comes back out and was like, he threw more money at me and was like, you better not say shit. And I'm like, I ain't gonna say shit. So he knew I was his best friend's daughter. He knew who my mother was. He started asking me all these questions. So he knew who I was. And he didn't have no issue with it. But here's where things get rocky. This man ended up becoming my regular, I guess you could say. And my dad calls me one day and was like, oh, what's up with you having OnlyFans? I heard you had OnlyFans. Be careful on the internet and all this other stuff. And I was like, who said I had OnlyFans? And this is what he tells me. So the best friend in question, his best friend who was my client, had pictures of me, pictures that he paid for that I sent him. And he just so happened to have his phone around my dad's other friend, and he's like, why do you have naked pictures of my niece, or stuff like that? Why is that in your phone? And he tried to pretend like he didn't know it was me, and was like, oh, this girl has OnlyFans, I found it online, and all this other shit, So I'm like, okay, so you're gonna lie on me, tell the truth on how you really got the pictures. Why would you say my body's all over the internet and that's how you got it when you know that's not how you got it? I put that shit on the floor, and I told my dad what the nigga's been doing. My dad talking about, oh, you mean I don't want to hear nothing like that. That's my boy. He puts money on my books, and I just don't want to hear about what he do with my daughter. Da 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 da. So I'm like, that's not the reaction I expected. I expected you to be like, what? He did what? Da 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 da. But because you're in jail, basically serving life in prison, you're going to accept the fact that your homeboy was paying your daughter for coochie because he's putting money on your books. I'm kind of glad I found out that wasn't my dad. And then when I found out who my real dad was, I don't like him either. So I don't really need one. But I'm just, ain't that fishy? But yeah, after I tell my dad the real truth, literally that same day, the same best friend calls me. He's like, yo, answer. He's texting me, calling me. And then I answer. And, I got a new number now, so I don't know how things are now. But I kind of just left that because if your own daughter's telling you like what your own man's is doing and you don't have no reaction, I don't need to be around y'all. But yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure you follow me for part 3. Story time on how I started. So here we go. Honestly, I was introduced to some things that I shouldn't have been introduced to as a kid, and it kind of stuck with me as I got older. You know, I was always getting in trouble for being fast and doing things that I had no business doing, but nobody really was correcting my behavior. Instead, I was being called a slut at the age of 12 and a fast ass little girl and put on lockdown and homeschooled, like this whole entire thing. Now, my whole thing is, if a child is being hypersexual as a kid, you cannot blame the kid. Clearly the child got it from somewhere. So if you're seeing your child act out and you're calling them a slut and whooping their ass, it's not going to do anything, because at the end of the day, I still did what I wanted to do. All my life, older men has taken advantage of me my whole entire life, so you know, took it against my free will. So I'm just like, at this point, let's get some fucking money. I mean, niggas was making money off of me, using me, so why won't I just do it myself this time? I had a 16, you feel me? But things didn't work out, you know. I became a renegade and I started making money on my own. It wasn't the best move because, you know, I'm so young and little and niggas are just crazy, but that's pretty much how I started. Trauma, being fast, and just doing a lot. I had moved out on my own at the age of 18 after I graduated high school. I did start college. I'm still enrolled in school and everything. I got a backup plan, don't get me wrong, but I was just doing it for the money, honestly. I'm not gonna say I hated it, because the money was great and I have great sex appeal, you feel me? So I didn't have a problem doing what I did, but I found someone who took me out the game, so that's pretty much why I don't do it anymore. I mean, I probably still would have been, you know, was really just a young girl by herself, just hitting city to city, hitting traps, like just, I had my own motion before I met this nigga. So everybody just making it seem like I'm with this man for his money and a place to stay. I had my own place to stay. I had my own money. I was a hoe. I had money. I'm not ugly. Niggas love spending money on me. So use it to my ability. Ain't no shame in it. I did not plan on being a hoe forever. Like I said, I enrolled myself into school and I was still hoeing. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it don't just stop there. If things ever was to get tough, I don't know if I will go back into that path. But if desperate times comes, I would. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. But that's my story, y'all.
This is crazy.
Typical morning of a hoe turned into a housewife. I'm 19 and my man is 32. So my man is going to Atlanta for his brother's baby shower, so I decided to pack his bags for him, iron any shirts that was wrinkly, and I also used this lint roller to take off any lint, you know, so he could be fresh down there. This is me taking out his everyday items that he pretty much uses. He's going to be in ATL for like 3 days, so I wanted to make sure that he had enough. And by the way, this suitcase was extremely small, so I packed all this stuff in there just to take it out and put it into a bigger one. So disregard this whole entire part because we did not use this suitcase. So after this, I just laid his clothes out so he could take a shower. Now I'm going to be on my way to the hair salon just to get a wash and a blow dry. I have a hair appointment at 1 p.m. I have a photo shoot tomorrow. My birthday is coming up, you know, big Pisces. I hope y'all like my little doobie, you know, and the lashes. I don't know how to feel about them, I'm not gonna lie. But this is the finished look. My girl iced my shit. My hair is so cute. I wish I could see my man, but sadly he went to the airport by the time my hair got done. So yeah, thank you for watching. Mwah. Bye.
Y'all, this story had me flabbergasted. Like, I was like, what? I was shocked every which way. You know how when you walk across the street, you look both ways, but for some odd reason, a car just come out of nowhere and then boom, it all hit you at once. This is how she had me. Now, the stepdaddy, the man who raised her, I understand where she coming from, because what, you on OnlyFans? What? Like, I just can't see a parent that consider themselves a parent, whether it's biologically or, just being around that child and consider themselves a parent, will allow their friend to see their child on OnlyFans or feel like it's okay. Like, yeah, his friend is a grown adult, but at the same time, nigga, what are you doing? That's my motherfucking daughter. Like, the other friend had to dig into this nigga because the daddy didn't give a fuck. And I wouldn't be surprised if the so-called daddy was receiving these OnlyFans pictures or wherever the pictures came from that she took. I wouldn't be surprised if the stepdaddy was not receiving them. Was receiving them. I wouldn't be surprised at all, because, sir, are you cool? How are you cool with a daughter you raised doing anything like this? You should have got into her as well as your best friend, because what are you talking about? A whole man that ain't even raised her, or not even her blood, or haven't been in her life, had to, what you doing? What you doing? He knew who she was the whole time. And I hate that she referred to herself as a 304. She definitely took responsibility, but at the same time, she went through trauma. And for some reason, this trauma make her feel like, oh, if I don't do it, it's going to be taken, which that's what happened to her when she was young. But now that she's an adult, she has more control over the situation. And I'm glad that she weaned herself away from all of this stuff, because eventually this could have caused her kidnapping, sex trafficking, snatched up and murdered somewhere. And people just like, oh, this is what she do. And the whole time she's missing because she's deceased. I'm glad she changed herself and turned around. Y'all, when I say, like, I was just so sad that she, decided to, like, face her trauma in her past by, doing this type of work. But to each his own. And hopefully she grow from this and learn from this and teach her children, what not to do, and make sure her kids are okay, because somebody along the way definitely did fail this young lady. Like, definitely did. And yes, they call her fast because that's what they said back in the days and stuff. But really, you never know what a person is going through. So calling them fast, because technically it's kind of considered fast, because look what you're doing. But as a young child, instead of calling that child fast, like, redirect everything and figure out where all of this is coming from. Why are you this way? Because sometimes it comes from something that happened to them and they never told anybody about. Like, she was literally taken advantage of when she was younger. I just feel like a lot of young ladies that are like this went through the same situation, and their mentality is the same way. Like, oh, if I don't get paid for it, they still gonna take it anyway. So I'm just gonna pray for her and hope that she just stay out of those type of situations. Yeah, and that stepdaddy or whoever, like, I'm glad he's not her dad either, because he's weird. Yeah. And like she said, her biological father is a whole nother story. And that's probably why she wished she had right now, because he was not in her life. She need a male figure, a male authority to redirect her. And it seems like the daddy, other friend, who should have been her stepdaddy, seemed like it, because he was more concerned than that the stepdaddy was. But y'all, drop down in the comment section what you think about this story. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to this channel. Yup, subscribe to this channel. Y'all, I've been the ghost, but I'm getting back there. I needed a break. So subscribe to this channel, like, share, and comment. And I hope you all have a blessed day. Peace.